But if we can talk about that battle,
Yeah, go on.
just because we haven't had a battle like that at the front of the grid for a really, really long time. And I want to dissect it a little bit if you'll indulge me. And it was just some really clever, brilliant car placement by both drivers, letting each other race, letting each other race, letting each other stay on the track, no running each other off, no contact at all. And it was just some of the best stuff I've seen, and I want to see more of that. And it's the rules that we have in Formula One today, where you are allowed to run each other off the track, denies us these kinds of battles. But I think because George and Lando have been racing together since they were babies and they're good mates, they gave each other the space to fight and they could trust each other to not run each other off the circuit. And it was just really, really wonderful to watch.
Maybe to an extent, there's a little bit to learn there for George. Like I said, he hasn't been in a position to be fighting for track position, fighting these battles. So to an extent, he probably doesn't know how much he should push it. But hear me out. I think there's probably also a little bit of desperation from George to prove himself, because he's got a
100%.
contract renewal coming up.
Totally.
He is, he's in one of the best cars on the grid now. And at the moment, he's not going to be in it for much longer. So he saw the opportunity to get scrappy, to really prove that he can fight and can fight for position. And, it wasn't probably, obviously, in the long run, wasn't the best idea. But I think it was just an act of, right, I'm here. I've got the opportunity now. I'm going for it, whether it was the right choice or not.
He's like that all the time, though, with everything. He's absolutely like 100%. And so, yeah, it's an interesting, if that's a look into his psychology, that he still feels he's got something to prove, I think it's probably a little bit more inherent. And I think that shows in how I want to use my tyres up now. I want to go fast now. I want to push now. I want to fight this battle now. And Hamilton didn't even, I don't think he even registered on Norris's radar. Hamilton just went into ghost mode and let Norris go through.
No, on the first, he defended him for one lap. So he did defend. He defended him on the first time Lando came to him. He definitely went middle of the road, couldn't let Lando get past him. It was only because Lando got so close to him through the last corner. Lewis was like, "Oh, I don't stand a chance here. He's letting me past." The problem George has, he is, and okay, everyone's going to talk Hamfosi, blah blah blah, whatever. He is in a team next to the greatest driver of all time, statistically, and when you're the person in that position, you have no choice but to absolutely give it everything and try and push as hard as you can to prove yourself. Because at the end of the day, he is 100% holding his own against the greatest driver of all time. And for me, that really shows that he is a top level driver. He's still got a lot to learn. He's still got more maturing to do. But I don't think he's doing a bad job. He's just not doing as good a job as the greatest driver of all time, which is fair.
If he really wanted to make a point, he would be more consistent and make his tires last as long as Lewis did. The thing is...
Totally. But that's the thing that set Lewis apart. Sorry, Matt. But that's the thing that sets Lewis apart. The thing that sets Lewis apart from everybody else is his consistency, is his tire management. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut over you, but that's the difference between the greatest of all time and other drivers.
But I'm saying he's busy trying to pass people to make a point, but the point he needs to make isn't the one that I can pass people. The point he needs to make is I can manage tires just about as well as Lewis can, because that's the key to success in the era in which we find ourselves. To me, the other thing is being intelligent about where your fight really is on track. Yeah. Now, you're accusing Lewis of defending Norris, and he did. He took up an inside position when he saw him coming, which is a standard defensive tactic. And when he saw that Norris was too far back, he just let him around another lap. But he made no serious effort to keep his nose in that second time because he could see the move was done. Russell was kind of the opposite there. He prolonged that battle at his own expense, and he's got enough experience now. He should start to be learning to think better of that, or his engineer needs to be informing him, our fight is not with Norris. Don't lose any extra time defending here.
Are you saying it's a little bit too late now to put it down to youthful exuberance.
Well, I'm just saying we're on the cusp of where you'd expect a driver who's going to go on to potentially fight for world championships should start demonstrating that they're mastering these lessons. I'm not saying it's a hard and fast, there's no chance of it, but we're definitely hitting there should be some learning here going on.
Okay, Skrauss makes the point that I always try and make with this, because all people with Piastri keep saying, well, he's quick, all he needs to do is sort out the tyre management. And Skrauss is saying, make your tyres last like Lewis did, is kind of like saying other basketball players should have just scored as much as Michael Jordan did. I don't think it's we've just got to sort that one thing out. I think some drivers drive in a way that are good at managing these tyres, and some drivers aren't as good at that. And here's the thing, though, it's predictable. Every single time we come to a high wear circuit and we say it's going to be a two-stop, we can predict which drivers are going to struggle. So it's predictable, and we do predict it. We said Russell is going to struggle today. Piastri is going to struggle today. And it's come to pass. I don't think we're at this point, Matt, where it's just like, if they just a couple of tweaks and he'll be able to make a tyre stint go. I think they're just not as good at managing the tyres as those drivers, and they might never be.
They might never be, but you have to make that your priority. If you are a professional and you have to do a thing, and the thing is, you can go and look at the lap times. You look at the lap times of Lewis in clean air, and you look at George in clean air, and there's a much bigger inconsistency. The standard deviation, let's say, would be higher in George's laps than in Lewis's laps. And it's not much. It's a little braking here. It's a little sliding there. I remember just out of nowhere, Ricardo being coached when he was in the McLaren, and the amount of information they're giving him about, like, in Singapore, they were like, this turn, you need to do this turn, you need to do this. It would make me nuts. I would never want to have, this is my job, because I just couldn't pay that much attention to it. But if you want to be as good as Lewis learned how to drive on these tires. He raced with people who were better on those tires than him. He saw that was a problem, and he made it his job to figure out how to drive those tires so that they did what he wanted them to do. And that's what George needs to do. He needs to look at Lewis's telemetry. He needs to look at everybody else's, whatever other information he can get, and solve this problem. And it's not a big problem. And that means it's really hard to do. The tinier the problem, the harder it is to change.
Yeah.
And that's where he is right now.